Let's see England's journey, because they had their ups and downs as well, isn't it? I mean, we all thought England were favourites. Then that blip against Pakistan, beat Bangladesh, beat West Indies, beat Afghanistan. Then that game to Sri Lanka, that opened up the World Cup. You know, up to that point, it was becoming a very predictable World Cup. If England had beaten Sri Lanka, there was a prospect of 10 or 11 dead rubber games coming up. Then they lose easily to Australia. Then look what happens. 31, 119, 8 wickets. They've almost played 4 finals, haven't they?
They have.
Do you think that comes in handy in a game like this? We've been to the brink and back.
Oh well, I think not just the game. I think in the perspective of the whole tournament, when you see that loss to Sri Lanka and Australia, you know, imagine if they had won against Sri Lanka and Australia. I think they would have taken their foot off the gas at a crucial time in the tournament, which would have lost them momentum. And in a tournament like this, when you're playing a round robin tournament, momentum plays a big factor. You know, that's why I seldom see teams, as in my personal experience, when I've noticed, seldom do I see teams that are 1 and 2 going on to win the tournament, because you see 3 and 4 doing that a lot. You know, I've seen that, and you realize that it's the guys who have momentum coming into that knockout stage that actually go on to win the tournament. You know, and that momentum is a big factor. And and knowing the English and knowing how they are and the mentality is, if they had won that game against Sri Lanka and Australia, they would have just kind of, you know, taken it off at the wrong time. So that was probably a blessing in disguise for them, especially that first loss to Pakistan. Kind of jolted them. They must have said, oh, it's just a blip in the radar. And then they won the next 3, and then they said, okay, all's good in the world again. And suddenly you lose to Sri Lanka and Australia back to back. And suddenly you're in a position where you really have to play good cricket through, you know, for the rest of the tournament. And then when a team of that quality has to do that, and has to bring to fore their best game in every game moving forward, then you know that they're going to mean business. They're going to take responsibility for their performances, and they're going to respect the momentum that they're gaining from each game.
So many heroes for them, Zach. Best who got a couple of hundreds. Roots made 550 runs. Jason Royce led the turnaround after he came back from his injury. Ben Stokes today. Butler's boundary of the last ball in the super over was what made the difference. So Butler there. Archer's been magnificent right through the World Cup. Plunkett today.
You know, you missed one guy. Vokes.
Yeah.
You were coming down to Vokes.
No, I was going to come down to Vokes. I was going to come down to Vokes. But
you realize you're coming
Vokes are RCB, not KKR.
No, he was ex-KKR. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean when I say he flies under the radar?
Correct. No, but you're right. You know, because I started from the batsman.
Yeah.
Then I started back from the bowler, and there Vokes was back.
Yeah.
Was back.
And there's Vokes holding both those things together.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, so many, and Owen Morgan. 2 years ago, Owen Morgan drew a blueprint of how England are going to play, and it included none of the Ben Stokes kind of incidents in the nightclub, that we will play a certain way. They took a very firm stand on Alex Hales. They picked James Vince, who's not in the same league as Alex Hales, but they said, no, we won't do it. We're going to play a certain way. And I thought, I mean, their approach over the last 2-3 years has been just sensational.
I think it will help England white ball cricket a lot for sure.
They'll be aware of white ball. This was on free to air, by the way, in England, so a lot of people would have watched it.
And you've seen those visuals of Trafalgar Square as well. You know, people gathered to watch the game, supporting the team. I think the first World Cup victory and the kind of planning which went back to 2015. It started there after the big loss in Australia for this English team. They've done a lot of work, and they badly needed this. I think, you know, on many levels, this victory was required for this England team, and it's satisfying to see that, you know, when a team or a board puts in so much of time and energy in terms of planning, doing the right, taking the right calls, creating a right culture, and sticking to what they believe in. I think, you know, that is the big thing out of this victory.
I think there's a hidden hero as well. Andrew Strauss was the one who decided that I'll send my players to the IPL. For a long time, IPL, in the eyes of English establishment, stood for everything that is vile and cruel and evil about the game of cricket. And he said, no, I'm going to send our players to the IPL. Jos Buttler comes back from the IPL. Ben Stokes is he's playing shots that I never thought. Jofra Archer goes to IPL, so that's one half of it. But he also appoints a white ball coach, someone that you know very well in Trevor Bayliss.
Yeah, as in, if there's anyone who needed, as in who deserved that win in that English squad, I think it was Trevor Bayliss more than anyone. To pull a team around from where it was in 4 years to make it what it is, and he's not going to get the credit. The players are going to get all the credit, but he deserves a lot of that because he's done all the work behind the scenes. You can be sure as heck that he's done enough and more.
I mean,
work
the style of Roy and Bairstow, the style of Joss Butler, picking people like Moeen Ali and Chris Wokes who do a little bit of this and bit of that. I mean, Moeen Ali didn't play today, but he's had a role to play in the last 2 years as well.
Yes.
Picking attacking bowlers, not the usual little bit of this and a little bit of that, and not enough of either. That was always England's approach. They picked the right players as well.
Yeah, that's part of planning, and they've made some they've taken some tough calls as well through the journey of coming where they have been. And yes, they have been pushed to the wall in this World Cup. They've been tested with the beliefs which they've had for the last 2-3 years. They were planning to be chasers of say 300 plus scores, and that's something which they were really banking on. Didn't really work in this World Cup. So that's something which they had to change how they've approached the game so far leading up. So I think they've been tested on many levels, and they'll be very happy that they stuck together as a unit.